Hello and welcome to FPL Mates, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. And today, I thought I'd challenge myself and try and see if I could make a fantasy team, a full fantasy team and a good fantasy team for 75 million of the budget. So 75% of the budget. And you know what? I was surprised because it actually turned out to be pretty good. So I thought, okay, let's share this with you guys because I think this could actually be a really useful video. Not just a fun video, but a really useful video where you can actually see some of the best assets at these super cheap prices. So all of these players are at 6 million or below. It kind of had to be that way. We've identified some really nice hidden gems, some really nice cheap options, and we've kind of looked at some of the promoted teams as well as what kind of assets we can take from those teams and use them in our fantasy teams as well. So I'm not saying that you guys should use this team necessarily, but there's definitely some lessons to be taken from this team, and yeah, some really good options that I think you guys are gonna like. So we're gonna do all of that today, and if you do enjoy this video today, if you do enjoy these kind of a little bit more fun videos, please do like the video. I'd really appreciate that, and of course subscribe if you're new around here and you want fantasy football content on your feeds every single day. I've got you back, guys. But before we go any further, I do want to just give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is, of course, Fantasy Football Hub. You guys know by now is one of my favourite fantasy tools in the universe, if not the favourite fantasy tool. And they've very kindly provided all of the data and statistics for the players that I'm going to be talking about today. So from you know, individual player performances from last season, to who's got the best defences, who's got the best attacks out of the teams, to who has the best fixtures, how difficult are each individual fixtures in reality. They've got it all covered, and you know, they've got plenty of journalistic articles on their website as well that have been really helpful for me, particularly for the research for these videos. So guys, you're gonna love Fantasy Football Hub, and you can get 25% off if you use the link in the description. Go check it out, guys. Why not? So here's the pitch. The budget is 100 million, obviously, but we're only going to use 75% of it. 75 million. It sounds like a challenge. Give it a go at home, guys. It really is a challenge, but let me show you what I come up with. Let me show you. So let's start off with goal with Robert Sanchez, the most popular 4.5 million pick in goal, for very good reason. A very safe pick, I would say. If you're going for a 4.5 million goalkeeper, Sanchez is definitely the safest pick to go for, and probably the one I would recommend to most people, unless you do fancy going for a spicy backman or something like that. So he's got a 37 clean sheet percentage from last season. That's the 4th best in the league, behind only Edison, Mendy and Martinez. So when we're talking about Edison, Mendy and Martinez, these players are 5.5 million, 6 million goalkeepers. For 4.5 million, you can get the next best thing. So a real nice cheap option there. He got 10 clean sheets in 27 games last season, a 71.3 save percentage, which is not bad at all either. That's 8th in the league. The downside of him is that he only made 2.44 saves per game, which means that he's probably going to get 1 save point per, you know, not quite every game, but most games he will get a save point in there on average, I guess. But it's nothing extraordinary, but it's going to be better than the likes of, you know, Edison, Mendy, Alisson, players who don't actually, goalkeepers who don't have to make too many saves. So it's going to be better than that, which did translate to less bonus points as well. But still, I think this is a really good, safe, sensible goalkeeper pick, particularly for 4.5 million. So we're going to move on to Ben White in defence. Now, his move to Arsenal should be announced by the end of the week. As you can see, I put him in an Arsenal shirt for the sake of this video because by Friday, he's going to be an Arsenal player. He's having his medical tomorrow, I believe. So that's all going to be wrapped up within the next couple of days, and we can just assume that he is an Arsenal player, I think, unless something goes tragically wrong, which I don't think it will. Now, Brighton were a great defence last season, one of the best in the league. Their best defender is now at Arsenal. Arsenal also one of the best defences of last year. So it's a really good defender from a really good defence that has been put into another really good defence. So there's a lot to like about that. So when we're talking about clean sheets, so Arsenal actually conceded the 3rd least amount of goals in the league last season. Did you know that? You probably wouldn't predict that to happen, to be honest, would you? So only Man City and Chelsea conceded less goals than Arsenal during last season's campaign. So we are talking about one of the best defences in the league here, as much as it probably blows your mind, right? Now, this is kind of consistent with their expected goals conceded, where they dropped to 4th best rather than 3rd best. Ironically, Brighton replacing them in 3rd. In the final 8 games of the season, Arsenal only conceded 4 goals. That's better than anyone else in the league for that final stretch of the season. They hardly even conceded any chances. This is a good defence. Now, I know a lot of people will just think of Arsenal being a typically bad defence. That's just not true anymore. And it's kind of incredible that you can get into a defence as good as Arsenal's for just 4.5 million. Because if you want to get into the Man City defence, if you want to get into the Chelsea defence, the defences that are better, even the Liverpool defence, you're going to have to pay so much more money than 4.5 million to be cashing in on those clean sheets. So this is such a budget, easy, cheap way into getting into some lots of clean sheets and maybe some bonus points as well. And if you want to add to that, you want to add a little bit of bonus information. Ben White had the highest expected points total last year of any current 4.5 million defender. So, you know, it all checks out. It all checks out for him. So we'll move on to Luke Ayling anyway. So Leeds went from one of the worst defences in the league to one of the best ones over the course of the season. In the second half of the season, they averaged just 1 goal conceded per game. That's the 4th best in the league and on par with Man City. This was part in due to defenders returning to fitness for Leeds and also the quality of Meslier, who did improve throughout the season as well. And you know, he's going to be a great goalkeeper, that's for sure. And it's kind of the attacking play from Ayling that I'm actually more interested, despite saying that about the defence. Do like the attacking play from Ayling. So despite no goals or assists last season, Ayling had a season-long expected assists of 3.54. That's only second to Lowton among 4.5 million defenders. And he also had a 1.77 expected goals, which is 7th out of those 4.5s. He was 4th for shots with 24, 14 shots in the box across the season. And these shots were with his feet. When we think about defenders taking shots, we're usually thinking, oh, headers in the box, random headers in the box. But these were shots taken with his feet. He's a very quite attacking player as well. So he was kind of very unlucky not to get goals or assists last year. He should get them this year. Things do usually regress to the mean, go back to the average, especially when you look at his previous championship season, where or 2 championship seasons to be fair, where he's kind of averaged a goal contribution every 4 or 5 games. Can he do that in the Premier League? Maybe not every 4 or 5 games, but maybe every 5, 6, 7 games he can get a nice goal contribution as well, which would be really, really nice. Then we move on to Ryan Aït-Nouri, the spicy differential pick with the highest upside, I would say, of any 4.5 million defender. So, Neto, he's going to be injured for the start of the season, and Aït-Nouri has been filling in as the left winger in those friendlies, presumably as that's where Aït-Nouri is going to play for the first few games at least. So he's super attacking, he's young and improving. This Wolves manager, the new Wolves manager, Lager, he loves playing with very attacking fullbacks. Fullbacks really have really good records under Lager. That's kind of been seen when he was the manager of Benfica. And you know, when Aït-Nouri also goes back to left back, not only is he going to be a very attacking left back, but he should also start ahead of players like Marçal, because that's the kind of player that we know that Lager likes. He likes an attacking, very forward-thinking fullback rather than Marçal, which is a slightly more defensive left centre-back, arguably kind of left back, if you like, a tucking in and defending kind of left back. But anyway, move on into midfield, and we've got Jack Harrison, and I think he's arguably the star of the team, right? I know he's a 6 million star of the team, but he's still a star of this team. So he had the best score of any outfield player last season, under 6 million, adjusting for Dallas's out-of-position adventure, of course. He's criminally cheap. If it wasn't for these tough opening fixtures, he would be a lot more popular. If a lot of people weren't going for Rafinha, Harrison would be a lot more popular. So in terms of stats for midfielders priced at 6 million or less, he stands out in a few categories across the board, really. So he was 3rd for shots in the box last year with 36, 3rd for big chances with 9, 3rd for goals with 8, 2nd for key passes with 59, 1st for big chances created with 11, 1st by a long way on expected assists with 7.54, 10 total assists, again, that's 1st, and 3rd for total bonus points as well. So across the board, he ranks very high in every single attacking category for these midfield players. Absolutely insane. Chuck onto that a few points for those clean sheets that we expect Leeds to improve upon this season. So yeah, really, really high ranking across the board. He's directly involved in almost a third of Leeds' goals last year. He is hands down the best 6 million midfielder in the game. I've said it. There you go. But we have got another 6 million midfielder, and that is Ismaila Sarr, the risky alternative, I guess, at 6 million. So he's got a high ceiling, he's got better fixtures, but it's kind of hard to say how well he'll do in a Watford team that don't actually score too many goals. So if you do want to take a risk on a newly promoted side, I do think Sarr is the best midfielder to go for. He's the talisman of Watford. In the Championship last year, he got 13 goals and 10 assists, which is obviously really amazing. 23 goal contributions in 39 appearances. In the season prior to that, whilst playing in the Premier League, he scored 5 and assisted 6 in 28 games. That's not too bad at all, but he has matured and become a more crucial player to Watford now, so he could easily beat his record from 2 years ago, and if that's the case for 6 million, that looks really good indeed. So next, Emil Smith-Rowe, the king of 5.5 million attackers in my opinion. So if we're going down into the next level, the 5.5 million guys, Smith-Rowe's the guy, right? So last season, he was his kind of breakout season for Arsenal. 2 goals, 5 assists in 20 games. It's not world-beating stuff, but it's pretty good for a player of his price. He averaged kind of 4 FPL points per start last season, which again is very, very nice for his price. And you add to that the fact that he's constantly improving, looking great on the pitch. He's being given more and more responsibility, and we kind of have a great pick. This year, he's been handed the number 10 shirt for Arsenal, and he's expected to play regularly either behind the striker or on the left wing. If Arsenal don't sign another playmaker this season, over the summer, Emil Smith-Rowe, he could be one of the best budget picks on the game very, very easily. And then we go to the final midfielder, which is Bryan Mbeumo. Now, we all know about Ivan Toney by now, but Bryan Mbeumo is known as Brentford's second best attacker. A right winger who cuts in using his left foot primarily, but he also plays as a second striker when Brentford play in a 3-5-2 formation. A formation they used a few times towards the end of last season. And I'm kind of predicting that Brentford will start this new season with a 3 at the back formation. So that's going to mean Mbeumo, he's either going to play as a second striker or he's going to play as a slightly more advanced right winger. Now, last season, he got 8 goals and 11 assists in the Championship, which is okay, but the season before that, he got 15 goals and 8 assists. So for a 21-year-old, he's already showing how important he is to this side. He's young, he's improving, he's a crucial player within his team. His pace could be the key to counter-attacking in a difficult league and potentially playing higher up the pitch than ever before. So Mbeumo overall could be the surprise promoted player to take the Prem by storm. I really do think that. So we'll go up front anyway. We've got a 3-man attack. I mean, by the way, guys, this formation, if you're actually trying to make a team for 75 million, it's far easier if you just load up on defenders because defenders are cheaper players. But I thought, guys, we'd treat you and we'd actually go for a full-on attacking formation in the 3-4-3. So 3 forwards. First of all, Danny Welbeck. Now, Welbeck had a few injury problems. He was kind of struggling for starts when he first joined Brighton, often appearing from the bench. But by the end of the season, he kind of established himself as this key starting man in the 2-man Brighton attack, with Maupay and Welbeck being the 2 strikers. In his 9 starts between game week 28 and 36, he scored 4 goals and grabbed a few assists as well. He became a bonus point absolute magnet. He got so many bonus points. He ended the season with 15, which is really, really big for fantasy. Really, really good. And I genuinely think for the forwards priced at 6 million and below, statistically, he is the best pick. So, last year in the Premier League, no player who currently costs 6.5 million or less can beat Welbeck's 3.71 points per appearance. So this is not 6 million or less, this is 6.5 million or less. 3.71 points per appearance last season. That includes all those sub-appearances as well. Now, if you take the stats from game week 28, where he became the regular starter for Brighton, he averaged an insane 5 points per game week. That's the kind of point average you kind of expect from 7, 8 or 9 million players. This is really quite substantial. So if you can continue that form into the new season, playing every game in these amazing fixtures that Brighton do have, then Welbeck is just going to be an insane pick at that price. He really, really is. He could absolutely bang. But we'll move on to players. Speaking of players who bang, Teemu Pukki. Now, I'm sure this will excite you guys. A few of you who may have played FPL during the 2019-20 season, because Pukki became almost essential during the first half of the season. 6 goals and an assist in his first 5 Premier League matches. Absolute madness. It was an amazing experience to be part of the Pukki party in that season. It really was. Could we be potentially having another one? Maybe. Let's see. Obviously, that was amazing, but he did finish that season that we're talking about on just 11 goals and 3 assists, which sounds far less impressive. Now, Norwich and Pukki, kind of dropped off massively in the second half of that season in the Premier League, but that's kind of to be expected from those cheaper forwards because they're streaky. They are streaky. The key to the cheaper forwards is to own them at the right moments rather than to own them all the time. And we know that Pukki is a proven player at that top level. So you add to that the 26 goals, 4 assists last year in the Championship. I think we have a player expected to score at least some goals in the Prem. I think he's looking at another 10-goal season, maybe an 11-goal season, something like that. I think the question is with Pukki is how well do you think Norwich will do? They were just promoted in first place. They walked the Championship again. Are they going to get destroyed in the Premier League and finish in 20th again? If so, avoid Pukki. But if you think that Norwich are going to mount a serious survival challenge, Pukki is going to be a key part of that. For that reason, he would be worth picking. So we'll move on to our final striker, and that is Troy Deeney. Premier League proven, club captain, penalty taker. Last time he was in the Premier League in 2019-20, he scored 10 goals and assisted 2. That's not too bad for a 5.5 million player. Seasons before that, kind of mixed, some good, some bad. The problem is with Deeney is that at 33 years of age, he had a lot of injury problems last season in the Championship. Though, to be fair, in the 14 games he was able to start, he scored 7 goals and got 3 assists, which is pretty good. He's still clearly got it, and he can still clearly turn it back on very easily after coming back from injury. It's just kind of case of fitness with him. He did return to Watford's final game of the season against Swansea last year, came off the bench in the sort of 72nd minute or something like that, and he's been starting in Watford's pre-season games as well. So at 5.5 million, I think he could be an insane bargain again if you own him at the right times during this season. Let's get up the bench. We've got a bench as well, guys. Don't worry about that. They're pretty cheap, though. So Ben Foster, injuries aside, I do think that Ben Foster is the most likely 4 million goalkeeper to usurp their team's main goalkeeper during the season. So Foster played about half of Watford's games last year. And if Bachmann doesn't perform well at the top level, Foster may play in about half of Watford's games this season as well. You never know. We've got Josh Brownhill. So since I made a whole video explaining why I think Josh Brownhill is the best 4.5 million midfielder in the game, I won't dwell on this one too much. You can go check out that video if you want all about 4.5 million midfielders. But basically, he likes to play, well, he does play behind a lone striker for Burnley, and he loves to shoot. So he could be good for a few goals and assists this year. You never know. We've got Brandon Williams, Alex Telles, and possibly Luke Shaw are both expected to miss Manchester United's opening game, which means Williams may start in Game Week 1 for Manchester United. And Williams has also been touted for a Premier League loan move. And if he does get his loan, he could become a regular starter for his new team at the bargain price of 4 million. Can't go wrong there, can you? And we've got Andrew Omobamidele, another 4 million defender. He really impressed when he came into that Norwich side, into the first team during the second half of the Championship season last year, amid a lot of injury problems. The Norwich defenders he filled in for are now fit, but I don't think it's going to take much for Omobamidele to be handed some game time, particularly if Norwich have a poor start to the season. And there we go. That is the team. I think just for a laugh, just for fun, should we give the captain's armband to Emil Smith-Rowe in that nice fixture against Brentford? And who should we give the vice captain to? I guess we'll give that to Welbeck, because I like Danny Welbeck a lot, and obviously that's a very nice fixture as well to start the season off. So maybe he'll do something as well. So yeah, that's the team. That's the team in completion. Captains and all, 75 million spent. What a challenge that was. But I think we've actually got a pretty good team here, particularly for a team that is in the 3-4-3 formation. It's pretty mad. But guys, definitely go and challenge yourself to do the same thing. It's really fun to do, to make kind of teams like this. Just challenge yourself to do different things. So yeah, let me know how you get on in the comments if you do try and do that. But that's the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy what you saw today, please do leave a like. I would really appreciate that. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. That would be pretty wicked as well. We're going to try and get 100,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. I don't know how possible that is going to be, but we'll definitely give it a go. Definitely. So we'll see how we get on there. But I can only do that with your help. Guys, don't forget to check out Fantasy Football Hub if you want that extra tool to help you succeed in fantasy football. It is so important. You know, I couldn't live without it, basically, in terms of fantasy football. It's just so useful. But yeah, aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Mini League Twitter in the description, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.